Ride with me. Today we start teaching the horse how to bend on a circle. Let's start on a left hand 20-meter circle. And to begin with, we're not going to worry about the frame or the bend. And we're going to have a very light contact in both reins. So we're going to start on the circle, asking the horse for balance and straightness. So we want to sit evenly with 50% of our weight on the left and 50% of our weight on the right seat bone. And we want to feel that the horse is also 50% of his weight in his inside shoulder and 50% of his weight in his outside shoulder. And we're going to walk several circles and just make sure the horse is straight and balanced. So this is kind of our warm up. It lets us know how the horse feels today, if they feel stiff, if it's easy to have them balance, or if they're struggling a little bit on one side or the other. Remember, if your horse falls out on the circle, you'll block with the outside rein. And if your horse falls in on the circle, you'll block the shoulder with your inside rein against the shoulder. So as the horse becomes straight, let's go ahead onto our quarter line. We're going to ask for a leg yield to the right. So as the horse becomes straight on the quarter line, go ahead and sit to the right and put weight into your right heel and open your right rein towards the fence, and your horse should just step over underneath your weight. Very good. Let's repeat that on the next quarter line, on the next long side. So as we're walking on the short side, just make sure to maintain the walk rhythm, and we'll turn onto the quarter line, maintaining our walk rhythm, sitting evenly. And then once the horse is straight on the quarter line, we'll sit to the right, we'll open the right rein, and we'll ask the horse in this manner to just step under our weight as we ask him to go to the right in leg yield. Very good. So let's go ahead and change direction. So as you come around the short side, just make sure that you're maintaining your walk rhythm. And then we'll take the short diagonal. And on the short diagonal, we want the horse to be straight. So sit perfectly evenly. So equal weight in your right seat bone and your left seat bone. And feel that the horse has equal weight in the shoulders. So he's not leaning or trying to leg yield a bit to the left or leg yield a bit to the right because you're sitting to one side or the other. We just want him to go straight across the diagonal. Great. So now let's go ahead and take a right circle of 20 meters. And again, we're going to ask the horse to be straight and balanced on this circle. So we're not asking for bend right now. We just want balanced shoulders. So equal weight in the horse's shoulders. So he's not falling into the circle or out of the circle with his shoulder. So if he falls in, you'll block with the inside rein. If he falls out, you'll block the shoulder with the outside rein against the shoulder. Very good. Let's do one more circle. And we just want to make sure that the horse can maintain this somewhat on his own. So you're not constantly having to correct where his shoulders are going. So really focus that you're sitting evenly and that the horse is also even underneath of you with equal weight on his left shoulder and his right shoulder. Very good. So as we come around, let's take the next quarter line and let's ask for a leg yield to the left. We always want to do everything equally in both directions. So as the horse straightens on the quarter line, go ahead and sit to the left and open the left rein. That means just take it off the shoulder and let the horse step under you towards the rail. And there's your leg yield. Let's go ahead and do that one more time. Since we did 2 in the other direction, we'll want to do 2 in this direction. So keep a good walk rhythm on the short side. And as you come to the next long side, let's take the quarter line and we'll leg yield to the left again. Once the horse is straight on the quarter line, Go ahead and sit to the left and open the left rein. So that means take it away from the shoulder. Yep. And then let the horse step over underneath your weight towards the rail. So you have to maintain your left seat bone with more weight until you get all the way to the rail. Once you're at the end of the long side, sit evenly. As you come across the short side, then let's go ahead and change direction on a short diagonal. And as you're on the short diagonal, sit evenly because we want the horse to go straight across the diagonal. Maintain your walk rhythm. And if the horse falls in one direction or the other, just block the shoulder with a rein against it. So if it's falling left, block with your left rein. If it's falling right, block with your right rein. Very good. Let's go ahead on to a 20-meter circle left. And we're going to ask the horse to be balanced again. So as we start this circle to the left, ask the horse to be balanced in the shoulders. And now we're going to ask for them to bend. And we don't want to use the rein for this. We want to use our weight aid. So we just used the weight aid to do leg yield. And that made the horse step all the way sideways. So right now I want you to sit just the tiniest bit into your outside seat bone, maybe 5% of your weight. So 45% on the inside seat bone and 55% on the outside seat bone. And see if you feel the horse shift its weight into its outside shoulder, like it's almost going to maybe leg yield out on your circle. But you want to hold it on that feeling of he thinks he should maybe leg yield, but he's not quite leg yielding out. When they have that feeling of being weighted in the outside shoulder, you can look down and see that there is a greater gap between the inside rein and the shoulder and the outside rein and the shoulder. So your bend has started to come simply from adjusting your weight in the saddle. And just play with the feel. If your horse does actually start to leg yield out, don't sit out quite so much. Sit a little bit back towards the inside. You got to try to balance on that feeling of he's about to leg yield, but not quite. And this is also the feeling that you get when people try to describe the effect of inside leg to outside rein. You don't actually have to push the horse sideways with your inside leg. You can just sit slightly to the outside and the horse will weight the outside shoulder, which in turn makes it feel like you have more contact in your outside rein. And you just try to help the horse maintain the position as long as possible. Let's go ahead and change direction across the short diagonal. Ask your horse to stay as straight as possible. So as you're coming onto the diagonal, sit perfectly evenly. And then as we come off the diagonal, we're going to circle right 20 meters. And we're going to do the same thing we just did to the left. We're going to start by asking the horse to be balanced. So equal weight in the left shoulder and the right shoulder, not falling in on the circle or falling out on the circle. If your horse is steady, you can then shift your weight so you have ever so slightly more weight in your outside seat bone. You want to feel like the horse is about to go into a leg yield on your circle, a leg yield out. And as you get to that feeling of he thinks he might need to step sideways, don't put any more weight. Try to keep him in that feeling of he's thinking he might leg yield out, but he's not really stepping out. And then you can look down and see if you have created bend this way through the horse's body. So you should have a larger gap between the horse's neck and your inside rein than your horse's neck and your outside rein. It's very easy to see. So you can totally create bend just with your seat aid on a circle. And in this way, because you're not creating the bend with your rein, you've not contracted the horse's neck and shortened their stride, but instead of just bending the neck, which is what the rein does, the seat aid allows us to help the horse bend from the center of their body. And so you're bending more of the body than just the front half with the neck. Very good. Let's let the horse have a break. Let's go on a long rein and we'll go once around the arena. And you can praise your horse because they're working harder than you think. We're playing with gravity and we're transferring motion across their shoulders, which is also their center of gravity. And so it's almost like Pilates for people. You're totally working all their core muscles around their center of gravity in their shoulder muscle sling. And it's very hard work. All right, let's go ahead and gently pick up our reins and we're going to prepare to trot. So as we're trotting now, so we'll trot down the long side and then we'll take a circle to the right of 20 meters. And we're going to start the same way that we did at the walk. We're going to ask the horse to be balanced on this circle. So we're again not worrying about bend right now. We're sitting evenly and we're just making sure the horse can balance and not fall in and not fall out as we go faster now at trot. And everything gets harder when you add speed. So take your time to make sure your horse is balanced before you do the next step. And the horse is now coming into balance after several circles. So let's take the next quarter line. And today we'll ask for leg yield to the left at trot. If you're posting the trot, just step into your stirrup to the left and open your left rein. The horse should leg yield sideways. Let's take the next quarter line and do this again. Leg yield at trot. Step to the left and open the left rein. And the horse will leg yield sideways. Very good boy. Let's go ahead and then change direction across a short diagonal. The short diagonal still gives us more time to help the horse go straight than if we were to do a change of direction through a circle. So as we get into the new direction, we'll be circling left on a 20-meter circle. And we'll do the same thing. We're just going to ask the horse to be balanced in both directions. So here we're on a left 20-meter circle and we're asking the horse to not fall in and not fall out with their shoulders on this 20-meter circle. If they fall in, we'll block them with our inside rein. If they fall out, we'll block them with our outside rein. And then after several circles, let's maybe do one more. We can prepare to do another leg yield. So the horse is coming into balance. Feels pretty good. Let's go ahead and take the next quarter line. And now we can leg yield to the right at trot. So we're going to step to our right stirrup and open our right rein towards the fence. And the horse will take a nice leg yield sideways in trot. Keep them forward on the short side, and let's take the next quarter line and leg yield again. Step to the right, open the right rein, and leg yield in trot. Over time, your horse will take larger steps, so don't worry about pushing them. Let's do a downward walk transition, and we'll have a walk break. And during the walk break, let's change direction across the diagonal. It's important to give the horse walk breaks during work so they have time to think about what you just did and also to catch their breath and have a physical break because we're really working on those balancing muscles that they don't use when we're not riding them because they don't carry a rider around all day long. So they will get tired. So it's important to give them a break. So if your horse is nice and stretched and you've changed direction, let's go ahead and prepare our trot transition. You can pick up your reins very slowly so the neck doesn't contract and the walk doesn't slow. And we'll go into our trot now. And we'll trot on a 20-meter circle to the right. And again, we're going to ask the horse to balance. So equal weight in both shoulders, and it should be easier now this second time. So as the horse comes into balance, you can ask now for them to try to bend on the circle by gently shifting a little more weight to your outside seat bone. If you're posting, put the weight down into your stirrup. Remember, you're going faster, so any change of your weight will have more effect. So be very diligent and try to control how much you're sitting to the outside. If your horse starts to leg yield out on the circle, it's okay, but it just means you sat too far to the outside. You need to try to ride the line between that feeling of I'm about to leg yield and actual leg yield. Now, because we're bending, let's try a change of direction through the trot circle. So you're going to look hard to the right, and then as you go through the circle, you're going to look hard to the left. And now in a left hand 20-meter circle at trot, we're going to try to ask the horse to bend. First, ask them for balance. So if they're equally weighted in both of their shoulders, then you can ask them to bend by gently shifting your weight to your outside stirrup so that you feel like they're almost going to leg yield on the circle, but not quite. You don't want an actual leg yield. You just want to feel like they're about to. And you try to keep them in that moment and feeling of, I'm almost going to leg yield, but you haven't really said leg yield. Very good. And we just want to think steady, steady, steady. And you will find that as the horse develops balance, they'll offer to snort and they'll start to stretch and they'll become more comfortable as they understand this balance against the centrifugal force of your circle. Very good work. Let's go ahead and prepare our walk transition. So we'll sit and take a deep breath out as we're sitting, and the horse should come down to a nice walk from our seat aid without having to use the reins. Very good work today. Praise your horse a lot. This is hard work, and it's not something that they would do on their own in the field because they don't run around on circles. And fighting against centrifugal force is a lot of work, especially for a young, weak, or inexperienced horse to try to understand and deal with. So praise your horse a lot and just every day practice a little bit, and every day it'll get a little bit better. And I will see you next time. Have a good ride until then.